At about 10:45 on the night of the 19th of May, 1983, a red Nissan pulls into the emergency bay at Mackenzie Willamette Hospital in Springfield, Oregon. The driver is a 27-year-old postal worker named Elizabeth Diane Downs, and she has been shot through the left forearm. In the car behind her are her 3 children. 7-year-old Cheryl is dying. 8-year-old Christy has a bullet through the chest. 3-year-old Danny has one through the spine. Downs tells the police a stranger with shaggy hair flagged her down on a rural road and tried to take her car. It will take 9 months to arrest her, and it will take her own daughter relearning how to speak to convict her. Diane Downs had moved to Oregon from Chandler, Arizona only weeks earlier, in April of 1983, and taken a job as a letter carrier. The year before, she had served as a paid surrogate mother, carrying and delivering a daughter for another couple, a detail the newspapers would seize on when they wrote about her, because it made a particular kind of story. In Arizona, she'd been involved with a fellow postal worker named Lou Lewiston, a married man. Early in 1983, Lewiston ended it and made a point of telling her that he did not want children. He would later testify for the prosecution. Downs left Arizona weeks after that conversation, arriving in Oregon with 3 children and, by the reckoning of everyone who examined the case afterward, a problem she believed those children represented. The chronology of that evening is unusually well documented, and it is the chronology that convicts her. At around 9:45, she leaves the home of a friend, Heather Plord, with all 3 children in the car. At roughly 10:15, on a rural stretch called Old Mohawk Road, the shooting occurs. At about 10:20, a passing motorist named Joseph Inman sees the red car, and it is creeping 5 to 7 miles an hour, not racing, crawling. She reaches the hospital at 10:48, more than half an hour after the shooting, from a road a few minutes away. The receptionist calls police. Nurses reach the car. Cheryl Downs is already beyond help. Christy survives, but the wound to her chest causes a stroke that takes her speech and part of the use of her body. Danny survives and will never walk again. The forensic case is built by a criminalist named James Pex, and it is essentially a case about geometry. If a stranger fired into the car through the driver's window, there should be blood on the driver's side. There is none. There should be smears on the steering wheel. There are none. Gunpowder residue appears on the right side of the vehicle and in the back seat, and nowhere on the driver's door. 2 spent .22 caliber casings are recovered on Old Mohawk Road, and they carry extractor markings that match casings found at Downs' own home. She owned a .22 caliber semi-automatic pistol bought in Arizona. The weapon itself was never recovered, and to this day, it never has been. Investigators are left with a case built on where the blood was not. Alongside the physical evidence sat something harder to put in an evidence bag, but which everyone who encountered her remarked upon. Hospital staff described a woman who was composed, chatty, at moments something close to flirtatious, while her children were being worked on in the next room. In the days that followed, detectives Doug Welch and Dick Tracy and the Deputy District Attorney Fred Hughey watched her grieve and observed that what she grieved for, audibly and repeatedly, was the man in Arizona who had left her, not the daughter who had died. Investigators are trained to distrust this instinct because grief takes strange forms and innocent people behave badly under the worst nights of their lives. It was, nonetheless, noticed. The case turns on Christy Downs. She is 8 years old. She has survived a gunshot to the chest, and the stroke it caused has taken her language. Over months in hospital and in care, she relearns how to form words. Investigators wait. There is no legitimate way to hurry a child through this, and any hint that she had been coached would have destroyed the case entirely. When she is finally able to give an account and then to take a witness stand in a courtroom with her mother sitting a few feet away, she is asked who shot her. She answers, "My mom." She describes her mother leaning over the seat. It is one of the most extraordinary pieces of testimony in the history of American criminal courts, and it came from a child who had to learn to speak twice. Diane Downs was arrested on the 28th of February, 1984, 9 months after the shooting, at the post office where she worked. Her trial ran from the 10th of May to the 17th of June that year at the Lane County Courthouse in Eugene, before Judge Gregory Foote, prosecuted by Fred Hughey and defended by Jim Jagger. She was visibly pregnant throughout. She had conceived deliberately after the shootings while under investigation. The jury convicted her on all counts: murder for Cheryl, attempted murder for Christy and Danny, and 2 counts of first-degree assault. On the 28th of August, 1984, Judge Foote sentenced her to life plus 50 years and said from the bench that the court hoped the defendant would never again be free. 10 days before that sentencing, the state took the daughter she had given birth to during the proceedings and placed her for adoption. In 1986, Fred Hughey, the prosecutor, and his wife Joanne adopted Christy and Danny. The child who testified grew up in the home of the man who convicted her mother. On the 11th of July, 1987, Downs went over the fence at the Oregon Women's Correctional Center in Salem and vanished, triggering a multi-state manhunt. She was recaptured 10 days later, less than half a mile from the prison she had left. 5 years were added to her sentence, and she was moved out of state, first to New Jersey, later into the California prison system, where she remains. Oregon has kept parole jurisdiction over her throughout. She has now been denied parole 4 times. In 2008, in 2010, with the maximum deferral then permitted under Oregon law, in 2020, and most recently in December of 2025, following a hearing that autumn in which she told the board, at the age of 70, that she was innocent of shooting her children, but guilty of putting them in danger, something she said she had never been able to reconcile. The Diane Downs case has never stopped generating argument, and some of that argument is legitimate. The conviction rested on circumstantial forensic evidence and the testimony of a child witness who had suffered a brain injury, and reasonable people can ask hard questions about both. In February of 2024, Downs filed a post-conviction petition arguing that her convictions on the attempted murder and assault counts rested on a non-unanimous jury verdict and are therefore invalid under later Supreme Court rulings. The murder conviction for Cheryl's death is reported to have been unanimous and is not touched by that claim. Much of what the public believes it knows about this case comes not from the trial transcript, but from Ann Rule's best-selling book and the television film made from it, in which Farrah Fawcett played Downs, and it is worth separating the two. What the record establishes is this: 3 children were shot on a rural road in Oregon, one of them died, and the only person who has ever been able to say what happened inside that car was 8 years old, could not speak for months, and when she finally could, named her mother. Diane Downs is 70 years old. Her next parole hearing is scheduled for 2031. If you want the next case file, subscribe. New files unlock